when you are out in the community and you say like you see someone going in a van or something like that, well, how about if you don't see that, but you're seeing the older guy coming with the younger girl constantly?
Call it in.
You call it in?
If it raises a flag in your head, call it in. It could be nothing, but they really do. I'm like, do you want us calling in everything? Every time I've asked that of law enforcement, there's a special victims unit gentleman who I did a panel discussion with. He told that entire audience, I don't care how little it is. Call me. Call law enforcement, no matter any little thing. Every little thing, they want you to call it in. That seems like, I'm like, wow, they do. What else? Yes, ma'am.
Can you mention about the human trafficking division of SAPD now?
Yes, so two parts of the Alamo Area Coalition, the two sort of biggest entities, one in the nonprofit world and then it's over here in the law enforcement world. So the Rape Crisis Center and SAPD are joint benefactors of a federal grant that was given out 2 years ago. It's a 3-year grant. And off the top of my head, I don't remember how much money. I want to say $600,000. I think SAPD was given 2/3 of it in Rape Crisis. But like Rape Crisis doesn't use it for their normal operations. It allows them to have, they have an 800 number for human trafficking only. It allows them to staff more counselors for labor trafficking, adult sex trafficking, and domestic minor sex trafficking. They sort of run a lot of what we do within the coalition as far as these seminars through Rape Crisis, and the staff time to do that is all paid for through that grant. But then over here on the law enforcement side, it allowed law enforcement to dedicate some more officers specifically and only to human trafficking. There is a joint FBI SAPD task force. They office at the FBI offices. There are 6 officers on that task force. 2 SAPD, it might be more now. I think it's more now, I think it might be 4. And then specific law enforcement, FBI agents, and that human trafficking is what they do day in and day out. And there's actually a special investigator within SAPD whose area of expertise is that phone. Like he'll come and he can testify sometimes when there's not a great case, but when he comes and testifies about what he's found via that smartphone, that's SAPD. That's all under that umbrella of that joint task force. We have amazing law enforcement on this issue in our area and in the surrounding area as well. Our sheriff here, in my mind suddenly rang, Sheriff Salazar, he's been involved with Ransomed Life. He serves on our advisory panel. Our sheriff's office is very aware of and very diligent in what they do in the world of human trafficking. Our prosecutors, our district attorneys, our assistant district attorneys, our federal prosecutors, we actually have a human trafficking task force at the governor's office. And there's now an entire human being whose full-time job in the state of Texas is human trafficking. We have an assistant attorney general in the state of Texas by the name of Kirsta Melton. She used to be an assistant DA here. Kirsta's entire role in the AG's office is human trafficking. So that's all good stuff. That's hope, because that's not true in other states. There's a lot of other states who do well, but this is a passion of Greg Abbott's to get our collective state activities around this problem and work to solve it. What else can I answer for you guys? Yes, sir.
How do you estimate, how do you estimate a lot of these numbers and figures? How does it,
I would highly recommend to answer that question because that is not my area of expertise. Google statewide Texas Human Trafficking Mapping Project or something similar to that. Look on that slide. And they do a really good job within that published study of how they got to those estimates, where those numbers were pulled from, and how they compiled them over that 2-year period. It's very well done. It's sort of an example for a lot of other states on trying to understand this in their states, and I'm sure it will be. That was part of the point, was for one state to finally really get their head around this. So that would be the best way to answer that, because that's not my area of expertise. Yes, ma'am. And then, sir.
How many girls have you, is Ransomed Life?
So we usually are working with about 15 to 20 young ladies. They're in a wide variety of different stages of where they are with this. Sometimes we don't know where they are. because recovery for this isn't always just, it's not like, oh, you rescued me and now my life is going to be all rainbows and butterflies and unicorns and bunny rabbits, and that's just not the truth. And so they're very traumatized. For those of you who understand trauma, something small can trigger them and off they go. Sometimes back to their trafficker, just sometimes off. So we have some who are starting college. And so it's just a wide range of those who aren't even close to being pulled out. But the funny thing is when they run, they call their mentor. I ran away from home. Have you told your mom where you are? No, but I wanted you to know where I am. Or they call Carolyn, our program director. She's like, do you want to go home? No, my mom's too mad at me. That's part of the reason we need Ransomed Life local. So when they run away from home, they can run away to Ransom. They can't spend the night, but they can come to Ransomed Life on a Tuesday afternoon when they got into an argument with mom, and then they haven't broken parole and they're not in trouble with law enforcement, and they're not in trouble with mom because they're at Ransomed Life. And they can go sit in the garden and paint something and make some cookies, and then mom can come get him, or we'll take. So, but a wide range. So about 15 to 20 is how many we have at any given time. Ransomed Life's been around since April of 2014. So a little over 3 years. Yes, sir.
Placement there at your center, is that through law enforcement mostly?
Most of the young ladies who have come to Ransomed Life are through juvenile justice. We have kind of a partnership. We have what's called an MOU with them where they love Ransomed Life because they've seen the progress the girls have made, like they don't end up coming back in. So most of it comes when they're being assessed, when they're brought into juvenile justice, that they've committed some crime. And then through that process, one of the people down at juvenile justice is saying, I think this one needs a Ransomed Life mentor. Let's call Carolyn and get Carolyn down here to have a conversation with them. So most of our girls come through that, or the SAPD gang unit. Those girls come to us. That's the two places for now that most of our young ladies come to. Although now with things changing, we have a couple other initiatives by our governor in the state. There's a place called Centro Seguro. Does anybody know about that? It's a drop-in center that has just been created. It's a part of Roy Moss Youth Alternatives. It's a drop-in center for at-risk or trafficked youth. So it's possible that we'll get referrals through them now that that exists. And there's something called Common Thread. It's a new initiative paid for by a state grant that's under BCFS. And so Common Thread, if they get and that's in 25 counties. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, if law enforcement shows up at that hotel room and there's a 14-year-old, like it used to be that really the safest thing they could do was to take her down to Crier and arrest her for something. Or just because they can't just let her go and she's not going to tell them who their mom is or whatever. But so now they can either take that child to Centro Seguro, or they can call Common Thread and go, can you, and within some small period of time, some number of hours, a Common Thread advocate will show up and will physically stay with that child through the process of figuring out what to do next. Oh, she's from Iowa, let's get her back to Iowa. Oh, she's from El Paso, let's get her back there. Oh, she's from here, but she doesn't have a family. We need to get a hold of CPS. So that's kind of how all of that identification kind of process works. Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of family, how often do you find that it's family members that are trafficked?
I don't have a good number on that. It's none of the young ladies we work with. That just happens to be how it is with us. It's rather common, but I can't give you a number. Like I don't know 10% or 22%. I don't know, but it's a part of it, that it's a family member. I actually talked to a young girl at a presentation I gave to some girls who were in a long-term residential treatment facility, and she said, well, this happened to me, but that's just how our family needed to make money. I don't think it was trafficking. That's how we worked. It was fascinating talking to her because I'm like, that's how she viewed it. What else can I answer for y'all? I know it's a lot to hear. I appreciate everything that you guys have listened through today. Again, my cards are out there. Go to the Alamo Area Coalition, find an organization that you want to partner with if that's of interest to you, and anything else that you guys need from us, we're here to provide that to you. Thank you.